I wanted to share two tricks about tempera painting, and this first one is about mixing. We talked about mixing the actual paint 1 to 1, 1 part pigment, 1 part egg, and that would sort of give us our the equivalent of like our tubed paint. One thing I wanted to show is the consistency when we go to paint. And this is very important with uh, the tempera paint in order to get a good flow and a nice release from the paintbrush. So we add some water and we want the consistency to be sort of like a heavy cream. Um, if we add a lot of water, you tend to see granules and the water beads really quickly. And what happens if you go to paint with that is the bond to the ground, the panel, won't be strong enough. So, what you want to do is keep dissolving our paint concentrate into the water until it thickens up a little bit and becomes sort of like a heavy cream consistency. Then sometimes what happens is it's a little bit too opaque or transparent. Or if we're lucky, it'll come out just the way we want. But let's say we need to make it more transparent. So we can go back to our egg yolk painting medium. And this acts as our clear medium. So instead of just watering the tempera down, because it wouldn't be the right consistency, we can add some egg yolk and that's going to thicken it up. So now we can have a very transparent wash of tempera, but it's the still the thick cream consistency. Here we'll see how the transparent mix looks on the panel. And while we're watching a little bit of this, I wanted to talk about if we need to go in the opposite direction. Tempera tends to be translucent when you're using it correctly, or transparent. And you sort of build it up in transparent or translucent layers. So if you need to go darker or more opaque, then there's sort of two ways to do it. But the usual way is to layer up a couple of layers until it's the correct opacity or darkness. And the other way is to a certain extent, you can keep adding pigment to your mix. And the old advice is to test the paint to see if it has good adhesion properties after you try to load the mixture with as much pigment as possible. So you would actually paint a little bit out. Sometimes people would say on a piece of glass and let it dry completely. And then if you go to scrape it up and it comes off in a single sheet, then you're fine. The adhesion is perfect. If it just flakes off when you go to scrape it into sort of dust particles, then you've put too much pigment into the mix. Now the second trick I wanted to show you is you see on the surface how there's different reflective properties to all of the different colors, and in a way that makes it sort of look ununified. Some are very shiny and some are matte. So with tempera painting traditionally, you would buff it with a very soft cotton rag. And this is done in between every layer. So slowly you build up the painting with a sort of unified eggshell sheen. And that's one of the really nice qualities of the surface of tempera paint. So you need a really light touch here. I'm not putting a lot of pressure. I'm just making sure to buff all the areas of the painting. And you can see that there's sort of like a soft eggshell shimmer to most of the painted surfaces now.